Hi, and welcome to another episode of. I swear to God, it's just an article. We're just going with it.
Oh, in
In 5D.
5D. I don't know what's happening, but I'm already afraid.
I mean, that's kind of the point. You got to start off on a high there.
Yeah, we gotta shock them into listening.
Shock, all that value. Speaking
Yeah.
of shock and fucking awe, you know what game I've been playing?
Hmm.
Cult of the fucking Lamb. Oh, except they don't say fucking.
Yeah, Cult of the fucking Lamb is a way different game. That one's only a couple bucks on Steam. Cult of the Lamb. I'm curious, and I know you and I did talk a little bit earlier, and I'm hoping you'll talk more about it. But unfortunately, I was really looking forward to this game, and I'm hearing nothing but bug laden anger for anything that isn't the PC release of this game. So the console releases, and especially the Switch, seem to be plaguing folks.
So I will say that some of that has happened to me. There have been one instance in particular. You know when you play Hades.
Mhm.
Before I get too much of a tangent, I'll make it quick. But you know when you play Hades and you get a really fucking good run going. You got
Yeah.
the right powers. For me, the weapon that I like to use happened to be 20% more darkness. Obviously, I'm trying to get this to work.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it was a perfect fucking run, and the game just ate shit. And the last time it had saved was at the beginning of the run, so none of the power ups were pre-generated; they're all randomly generated.
Nice.
So it was a very sad time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I will get into that. I
Okay.
just want to say that I'm finding more and more that it's not the rogue-like element of games that I dislike because
Okay.
because I it stems from playing a game like Diablo over and over and over and over again, right? Where it's like that is grindy, but if you play it enough times like you and I have, it's basically rogue because we're like, "Oh, let's just roll another character." Boom, here you
Yeah.
go. Right? Like fuck it, who cares? Sometimes especially in those games it was a lot about well, let's just roll another character because somebody else wants to play. So now, games like FTL I was super into because I hated the roguelike mechanic and everything, but it was interesting enough to hold my interest. And then everybody wanted to do it. Everybody wanted to do roguelikes,
Yeah.
and it just
It got a little saturated.
with how much with how little time I had at that point to play video games still, and anytime that I was playing video games, it was either for reviews or for things like that. I needed to be able to have a game that's my own that I can just sink in my teeth into, have some sort of progress, right? Versus the transactional kind of gaming that I have to tend to do for when we were doing a lot more of the streaming and the reviewing, right? Like we were always fucking up something new.
Right.
So I just got really fucking tired. But then things like Dead Cells popped up and Moonlighter. I know there's been a couple of more. I'm not trying to say that I'm the end all,
Right.
authority on this. These are just the ones I've played, where it was like, yeah, there's a bunch of combat and dungeon crawly that's super fun, but it's like it's different, right? Like it's not entirely roguelike. You're not gonna keep your shit. Eventually, you'll die. You'll lose some of your shit. Um, but you have this part of the game that isn't just a throwaway, it's part of the core mechanic where you get to build up your stuff. And it helps you out there a little bit, right? That
Right.
kind of thing. So obviously Hades spoke to that, and now Cult of the Lamb it's a really solid example. Um I would say I've only played a little bit of it. I haven't beat any of it, but have you played The Binding of Isaac?
No.
So it feels like art style and play style, a lot of that.
Okay.
Um, a lot of the little like it,
Is
it,
that game worth playing? I have a copy of it, and I've just never actually
I'm
never
told
done it.
it's amazing, but at the time when I first got it in a humble bundle,
Hmm.
um,
I think that's what I have it through.
I wasn't into these kinds of games. This is
Okay.
something I've started to get into now.
Okay.
Binding of Isaac was what, 5, 6 years ago,
More than that.
and yeah. So to make my point even stronger there, but I really like Cult of the Lamb. Gameplay wise, so quick setup. You're a lamb. No.
Shocker.
And you get revived by this eldritch god. It's not a shocker. It happens literally the opening of the game, right? And you are supposed to create a cult to worship him. So there's this game mechanic where you have to take care of a base. So for folks who are into the kind of farming resource
Yeah,
management
yeah.
stuff, there is an element of that, and it ultimately helps you quite a bit because the mechanic to leveling yourself up is you actually level powers up based on belief you gather from your cultists,
Okay.
but you have to keep them happy, and there's all kinds of these different states. Here's where I think it would totally hook you, and maybe that's where the interest came from. Like, the game is unapologetic. It's a fucking cult, right? It's
Sure.
not cutesy cult. I'm like, the art's cutesy, but the cult itself, if you need some extra materials, you can just sacrifice a fool and just there's a ritual for that, and there's
I like
also
it.
a power up that makes that ritual so that instead of horrifying your followers, they revel in it. It's great. There are a bunch of different power ups. There are a bunch of different resources. You know me. I'm not your Minecraft. I'm not a builder. That stuff's not usually my cup of tea. But there's enough of it, and once you build up enough cultists, let's just say you can automate a bunch of it.
Hmm.
Like I don't want to spoil too much, but it's something to look forward to.
Sure.
So that's one side of it. The other side is to get some of these materials earlier on before you've built enough automation to just have. You go into these dungeons, and there's a quasi story. So I haven't beat the game yet. The game, there is a point where you would win, I think, but again, I don't know. I haven't had it spoiled yet. But you fight these dungeons, and you have to beat each dungeon 4 times, and it unlocks the boss of the dungeon. Then that boss, so far, he's one of the 4 big bosses. But every time you go into a dungeon, it's random, the rooms.
Sure.
So
So it's procedurally generated.
procedurally generated, and like it's a lot like Moonlighter, except it's. Did you play? I don't think you ever played Everspace, right?
Mm.
So in this one, when you finish a room, you get to this board. So like, remember Hand of Fate, where you choose
Yeah.
the different
Yeah,
steps?
yeah.
Yeah, but in this case, it's not cards; it's rooms.
Sure.
So things that are randomly generated are what power ups you get. They're called curses. It's you gank foes. They release an energy. Use that energy to cast these curses.
Sure.
Weapons. So far I've seen daggers, swords, axes, and I think there was a club once.
Dildo bat. Got it.
Yeah, dildo bat, got it. So what else is randomized? There's this actual power ups, card system technically, a tarot, where
Okay.
they're just power ups. So like, if you find the merchant with them, you don't have to buy them, but he's like a dude and he's a little tent. So you 2 random ones will pop up and you get to choose one, and things will be like attack plus 1.6%, or the other one will be like,
Okay.
hey, when you get a heal item, it heals double the value.
Sure.
Things
Yeah.
like that. So it's a pretty solid game mechanic. And then so you can choose that. There are ways to buy followers. So you go to a vendor and that just has that you could buy, or you fight for them. There's a lot of hacky slash, and it's fun. It's dungeon crawly, and there's a big replayability because, like, there's some just interesting and funny quests. I'm trying not to spoil stuff, but just talk
Sure.
game mechanics.
Sure.
It is a really fun game. It completely sucked me in. Here's where it starts to suck. I play on the Switch
Right.
because I like to be on the couch next to the wife and the dogs, right? Do some gaming there. There's something wrong with the Switch port of this game.
There's something wrong with all the console ports of this game.
Ah, okay. Well, there's something wrong with this game then. When PC is the only one that works, that's a feature. I'm just saying. The
Yeah.
other things are bugs. So here's what I've noticed. Good God, loading times are back.
Okay.
But to the point where, like, a long time ago, we've just abandoned the bullshit pretend that any sort of marker of progress is real. Apparently, somewhere we gave up. I'd like to rant more on that, but this review's already getting long. There's a little spinny icon when you're loading. You know, supposed to spin. Except the problem is that it looks like it's having a fucking seizure. And it skips. And then at one point pauses. So it's like legit fucking struggling. And I was like, how graphic intensive is this fucking game when I first loaded it up? So as an example.
Does this game have a physical release?
Es posible.
So you got to download?
I got download, yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, you're right. It could be a cartridge versus local storage thing, but I've had those issues, and at one point, I'm absorbing belief from my followers, as one does in this game, and one of the other followers decided to make friends with his co-cultist, as they do in the game, and it brought me into a very close-in picture of them. But because I was doing something at the time, that broke the game, or the logic, or something. And pleasant music, and these two followers' faces are just zoomed in, and I can't do anything. None of the controls work. The only thing that's working is pause. So I proceeded to see if I could wait it out. Maybe it's just while they have the dialogue. Well, no, they stopped having a dialogue, and then one of these cultists, who was outraged and apparently was calling me on my bullshit, started walking by with a fucking megaphone talking shit about me, and there was nothing I could do about it. At that point, I became enraged, threw my Switch. No, none of that happened.
So it is worth mentioning super quick. Cult of the Lamb does have a physical release, but it's a physical release through special reserve games. A little bit like limited run games. They take games that don't get a physical release and they do a limited physical release of it. So it is out. I don't know if it's any better. It is most likely the exact same files as would be downloaded onto your Switch, just put onto a cartridge. So my bet is this would actually be kind of a shitty physical buy. I hate to say it, but if the original copy needs a patch to work correctly, that's a rough one.
Yep, exactly. But anyways, to finish that off, I had to fucking quit back to the main menu. And let me just put this into context. If you fire up the game without resuming from, like, when you hit the button, it takes about 2 minutes to get to your game. Almost 3. Which, nowadays, holy shit.
Yeah.
To get to your save. Like, again, the resume happens pretty quick because you're putting the thing to sleep. But cold start, not counting from the menu turning on the Switch, just from when you hit the game, it's like 2 minutes because the main screen takes forever to load, and it says press A, but it's not actually taking any input. So anyways, there's one last bug I do want to mention because it's frustrating. There is a slight input lag. And I don't know if it's because I was used to how smooth Hades was. Because I literally went, okay, that run of Hades was really good. I need a break. Let me go switch to this other game. Like within a 2 minute span, right? But there are times when I am attacking, and even though I'm having the faster weapon, it's attacking pretty slow, Or there are times where I'm like, no, I'm like, what? I'm out of fucking curse fuel. There's a name for it. I don't fucking remember. Um, and no, it just doesn't. It does not take it. If you're attacking, like there are times where I almost have to hold the Y button. So there are a couple things like that.
That's it. Those don't sound like minor things to me. Just my
No,
personal opinion. That's not minor.
no, but that's why I'm calling them out specifically.
Sure.
But yeah, honestly, I'm still playing it. It's only actually crashed on me twice, and there's just been
Oh,
other.
is that all?
Yeah, which is you try playing Knights of the Old Republic, motherfucker. Remember that
Fair.
game?
Yeah, fair. Okay, so I'm gonna do a thing really. Oh, sorry. Give it a rating.
Uh, okay, so just on my enjoyment, honestly, I would give this 3.5 cultists that have been turned into meat and refed to the other followers out of 5. But if they fix it, I would do another solid point. 4.5 would be what I would say.
Okay. All right.
Very good. It's a very solid game.
I'm gonna ruin your night, Eduardo.
Yes.
There's a thing I forgot that I watched that we absolutely need to talk about if we're talking about things and eldritch horrors and such.
Sure, hit me with it.
Glorious, a Shudder original. It should pop right up. Big purpley tentacle man holding a leg cover.
Okay. While that happens, how about you tell us about a game you've played recently, Dick?
Oh, Arceus?
Yeah.
I'm a small amount of the
exactly. I want to get your early thoughts, honestly.
I'm a small amount of the way into the game. I kind of appreciate the expanded filling out of a Pokedex, like having to study a Pokemon more to really learn about it. I like that. I do think this game goes a little heavy on the tasks as far as how many things you have to do to max something out. Not super heavy. I don't think it's insane. I think it's a little like honestly, if the whole game released a patch tomorrow that dropped all of those by 5, I think it would or so like drop the max ones by 5, I should say. I think it would make a huge difference, and it would feel just a little bit better balanced.
I promise I'll go back to that game eventually.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't put enough time into really like I don't want to talk about it this premature because I have a lot of game left ahead of me.
Okay, fair enough. And it is an RPG. It does need a lot more. So
an end game makes a big difference on games like this, and I have a lot of lots of features I like. I like that I can switch back to moves. Like the original game, once you got rid of a move, it's gone forever. This game's like, no, dude, just switch that shit up. They'll just do it later.
Yeah, that seems like a progress they should have in the future.
Yep. And there are several features in this game that I think should just make their way into the mainstream game.
Yeah. All right, Glorious.
We'll get there. Glorious. Okay. I'm gonna hit you with such a simple premise for a movie right now.
Okay.
That just gives so much room to do so many things, and honestly, keeps itself so well contained.
Okay.
Glorious is a film about a very, very sad man who is now stuck in a rest stop bathroom with an elder god.
Okay. This could either be really fun or really fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Right, because like at one point you got a dude talking to himself for an hour and change.
And let's dive in a little bit here. So, very sad man, crying, getting drunk at a rest stop with all of his stuff in his car. He's clearly living out of his car.
Okay.
Gets piss drunk and wakes up the next morning throwing up into the rest stop toilet, face fully resting on the rest stop toilet seat.
Fun.
Just as bad as it sounds.
I mean, who hasn't been there?
As he wakes up, he's greeted by the pleasant voice of J.K. Simmons. For anybody who doesn't know who J.K. Simmons is, Spider-Man. That's J.K. Simmons. So he looks to his right, and what is there is a glory hole with a demon painted around sort of the demon's mouth is the mouth of the glory hole, and there's a big
Oh,
snaky headed woman demon painted around the glory hole. And what you find out is this is one of the elder gods. If I definitely cannot say the god's name, but I believe it is the eldest son of Cthulhu, if I'm remembering my elder gods correctly. Um, and yeah, it kind of goes from there. It's hard to talk about more without spoiling some bits of it.
Sothamump?
No.
Okay, well that's the one that shows up under oldest son. Okay.
Uh, well, let's see. Hold on. Let's all Google elder gods.
No, because
Yay!
now it matters.
Yeah, no, I know. We're getting there.
So, am I to believe that at one point he stuck his dick in the elder god hole?
So, the reason this guy is here is because let's just do Cthulhu's children, huh? We'll pull all of them up. The reason he's there is because he has a great task. This demon's father is ready to destroy the whole universe, but this elder god, this demon, this creature, this whatever you want to call it, has grown attached to
Humanity.
the universe as a whole, all of it.
Okay. They're a fan.
Doesn't want his dad to destroy it. And this guy can help. This guy, this only guy, this person in this bathroom can help. And all he has to do is give a part of himself to the elder god that is a talking glory hole.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it scary?
It is a horror movie. I would not call it a scary movie.
Is it crude? Can I watch this on the couch?
Not with your wife.
Cool. All right. See that's really the question that I needed answered. Thank you for that.
Yeah, she would not be down for this movie
Fair
at
enough.
all.
Is it fun though?
Yeah, and it has some very silly parts, and using J.K. Simmons' voice was the perfect call. Okay, it is called Gatanotha.
I see.
And then, at least from the HP Lovecraft wiki, that's going to be my source here, lovecraft.fandom.com.
Yeah.
Gatanotha, the Dark God, is the great old one and the firstborn of Cthulhu, spawned by Id-Ya on the planet Zoth.
You know, the thing in the pit.
Yes. Yes. And actually, one of the great bits that I will spoil, the way the god tells him his name is he goes, hold out your tongue and grab it with your first and, your first finger and thumb. And then he tells him to say, what is it? Like, go that not one or something like that, but you hold your tongue and say it, and it becomes this thing's name. Honestly, what really makes this is J.K. Simmons just being this omnipresent voice that is just convincing this guy that all he has to do is give a part of himself to save the whole universe and kind of coach this guy through what he needs to do.
Huh.
I had a lot of fun. There is a twist at the end that I don't want to spoil for anybody.
Yeah.
I don't like the twist. I still think the movie ends really solid. I still think it's a really fun movie. But the big twist is just kind of unnecessary in my opinion. I just don't get what that really adds to our story.
Okay.
But it is
I
what
understand
it
the
is.
point with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think This might be my next workout movie.
It is a Shudder original. I do think you need to have Shudder.
I do think I have credentials.
Oh, do you have mine?
Probably.
Okay. Okay. And then
Hey, I wasn't gonna say shit. You're the one who aired your
Yep.
dirty laundry.
Yep. And then still coming soon. I'm still working on the Friday the 13th movies, and I will do a big review on those once I've finished all of them. Okay, you tell me what we're doing next.
Give it a fucking rating, man.
Oh, sorry. No, even with that bad ending, 7.5 out of 10.
7. Wow, nice.
Yeah, I really liked it. I had the funny moments were just funny enough, the tense moments were just tense enough. It really like when you start talking about elder gods, and especially how candid this is about being an elder god and really the scope of its power, the fact that it bothers to stay as restrained as it does is actually not a detriment to the movie. It really elevates the movie by staying so restrained.
And you kind of have to, because otherwise, how do you capture in a movie the unknowable, right? Like,
Exactly.
I get it. I understand why they went in that direction. All right, now to justify the reason why we steal streaming service, hey, how about we talk about the HBO Max disaster?
Oh boy.
Oh, and Discovery Plus, because that's the problem.
I mean, look, I don't know that that's the problem, but that seems like the likely suspect right now. But let's not pretend like we have any insider information or
No. But it definitely.
We don't.
So here are the facts. The facts are, HBO Max and Discovery are merging, right? And with that, HBO has decided, or HBO Max, I believe they're their own entity, has decided to no longer carry a bunch of shows.
A lot.
A lot of shows.
And that's not, what Eduardo, well, what we struggled to find was a list of the still to be released projects. I think we found some, but I don't know that we found a comprehensive list of all the stuff that was just flat out canceled before it even got to air.
No,
which means that's money that's already spent. That's going to earn you nothing.
Exactly. I mean, it's like the Batgirl thing that we talked about before, right?
Just there are a lot more to them now. But okay, I'm gonna run through these quick and just pepper on the ones that I like or I've seen or whatever. But there are 68 of these, so I'm just gonna try and run through.
Dear
them quick.
Lord, all right, we're doing this.
I'm just gonna go quick. 12 Dates of Christmas, About Last Night, Amsterdam, An American Pickle, which I actually did like. Aquaman, King of Atlantis. It wasn't my cup of tea, but it was interesting. At Home with Amy Sedaris, Baketopia, Beartown, Beforeigners, Camping, which I tried, I couldn't get into. Chad, Charm City Kings, Close Enough, which is a goddamn travesty. That's the one that you and I watched when we were in Finland. What a fun show, and it's just gone. It doesn't exist anywhere anymore. It's gone. It's gone. Check it out. CZECH. Check it out. Ellen, Next Great Designer. Final Space, which I was just getting back into. That's just completely gone. Full Bloom. Generation. Generation Hustle. Here and Now, Infinity Train, which is a travesty, and that one, you can still get season 1 and 2 on DVD. Season 3's gone. Just gone. It was never released on DVD, and it won't be. It's just gone forever. K Street, Locked Down, Lust, Moonshot, Miss Fletcher, My Dinner with Herv, My Mom, Your Dad, Ravi Patel's Pursuit of Happiness, Run, Rux, Shadows, Share, Snowpiercer. Oh, okay. Go ahead with Shadows.
No, I know that one. It wasn't bad.
Okay. Snowpiercer. I liked the show. I also liked the movie. Both are super underrated. It was a lot of fun.
Not underrated. They're critically acclaimed.
Oh, it tanked in theaters, bud. Snowpiercer, the movie, tanked in theaters and did not do well.
Oh, okay. Well, because Snowpiercer, I believe, is from the same person who did Parasite.
Yes,
yeah,
and it bombed at box offices.
Yeah, but it's like cult following. It's like Donnie Darko-ish.
Donnie Darko sucks. Super Intelligence, The Informant, The Last OG, The Misery Index, The Sleepers, The Witches. I did not like that one as much as I liked the original. Vinyl, Wrecked, Craftopia, Detention Adventure, Dodo, Elliot from Earth, Esme and Roy, Little Ellen, Make It Big, Make It Small. Mao Mao, Heroes of Pure Heart, Missy Goes to Hokkaido. Mia's Magic Playground, Mighty Magiswords. I never watched that one, but I've seen bits of it. It looked fun enough. Odo, OKKO, Let's Be Heroes. Another one just like that, Mighty Magiswords. These are like we're getting into like the Cartoon Network
Yep.
stuff, but a lot of Cartoon Network just nuked. Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures, various Sesame Street specials, and I will just add right now, apparently Sesame Street's, it's seasons like 1 through 32, 35, something, gone. Just gone. Squish, Summer Camp Island, that's one of the ones it never even got to premiere. They made 20 episodes of a full animated show. Dead and gone. The Fungies, Not Too Late with Elmo show. The Ollie and Moon show. The Runaway Bunny, Theodosia, Tig and Seek, Uncle Grandpa, the world could use less Uncle Grandpa.
Oh my god.
Victor and
why?
Valentino, and Yabba Dabba Dinosaurs. All just gone.
Okay. So, I do have a little bit of good news.
Here's my like just can I just add really quick. For something like Netflix, when Netflix loses a like I understand when Friends isn't on Netflix. Netflix can't help that. Netflix didn't make that. That's just a thing that they had the license rights to put out there. I understand that. Most of these are things owned by HBO or HBO's parent company, or things that premiered on HBO. Why would you take something off of your streaming service? I can tell you what hard drive space costs. It's really in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much to house a show on their service.
So, I don't disagree with you. I think this is dumb, especially because now that every fucking content creator has its own streaming app.
Right.
I find
this was theirs, and so why are we taking it off?
Yeah, completely unacceptable, right? It is their content. Why are they taking it off? So first off, there are little bits of silver linings here and there. It sounds like some of the shows, and unfortunately there isn't a comprehensive list, but
Sure.
here's some of the major ones. It looks like the new Batman series, Batman Cape Crusader.
So that was going to be done by oh my god, why am I blanking on his name? Bruce Timm.
Yeah.
Bruce Timm, who very famous for Batman the Animated Series. He did the art for Batman the Animated Series. So this is his new Batman.
And the cover art actually has that. I'd show it, but why?
Sure.
It's very, very, very akin to that. The Urkel movie. Apparently, there's a holiday movie for Urkel. I don't know if this is that Urkel, but they're going to be shopped around to see if other apps or other publishers. This is
with this much Cartoon Network stuff getting wiped, though. Where is it going?
Yeah, that's the problem. Unless Cartoon Network's now going to have its own app.
Oh god, just shoot me in my mouth.
Yeah, so anyways, a little bit of silver lining, but here's the really shitty part. And again, I've already told Bonsai, but I'm saying this is a rumor. It's not confirmed, but there's talks that it had a lot to do, instead of like usually they talk about licensing. In this case, it was residuals for a lot of the animated stuff, which I don't know enough of that business where to know if like the voice actors get stuff or anything, but it just seems either way getting rid of the content is shitty, or do something with it, release it on DVD or something, or Blu-ray now, something.
Yeah, something,
because it just being gone is not okay.
Yeah,
right.
Gross.
Like it's just dumb. But yeah,
it's gross and I hate it.
It's gross and you hate it, buddy. You know what's gross and things I hate as well?
Spiders?
Sexual abuse allegations.
Okay, so for the start of this one, I'm just going to report it as written.
Yep.
All right. So this is according to Wikipedia, so take it however you want off of that. On August 19th, 2022, Gary Busey was arrested and charged with 3 sexual offenses and 1 count of harassment, at Monster Mania Con in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, where he was a featured guest. The Cherry Hill police said they had received multiple complaints about Busey's conduct and that, quote, it was about contact, it was about touching, end quote. Um, Sad, but like also Gary Busey's weird, and also I do feel it's kind of important to throw out also from Wikipedia, but I do know like at least this happened. Uh, on December 4th, 1988, Busey was severely injured in a motorcycle accident in which he was not wearing a helmet. His skull was fractured, and he suffered permanent brain damage. That's not an excuse for anything, but you know he has been known to be very erratic after that. So I can't say it's surprising. And actually, another one in here. Oh wait, where did it go? I know I saw this. Okay, during the filming of the second season of Celebrity Rehab in 2008, Busey was referred to a psychiatrist, Charles Sophie.
Wow.
Sophie suspected that Busey's brain injury had greater effect on him than was realized. He described it essentially as a weakening in mental filters and causing him to speak and act impulsively. Sophie recommended Busey take valproic acid, which Busey agreed. So again, not an excuse, but the guy does have some.
Yeah.
The guy
Well,
does have some issues legitimately.
and that they're starting to really realize nowadays, right? Head injuries are a lot more severe than we originally thought.
Yeah,
Like especially for like football players and you know a lot of those super high contact.
and well, and
Pers-
he just had one bad knock, but I mean, clearly the guy's been a little unhinged. And again, I'm not saying this makes it okay or
oh
forgives
no.
it. What I'm saying is maybe from now on, we let Busey be a celebrity that we look back on. Maybe he's not the kind of guy we bring onto sets and to conventions or anything
So
like.
I
Maybe Busey's better forcibly retired.
I'm not gonna say that he can't work, right? Like, but get him a handler in the
Yeah,
sense of
get
like
somebody to manage Mr. Busey.
exactly, not in the sense of like he's not an animal, right? I'm not implying that, but what I am saying is have someone that can read the signs and understand when maybe he is not quite acting how he should or
Yeah.
feeling agitated, things like that. Because there's a follow-up article. Apparently, the day after he was charged, he was caught pulling his pants down in a park. The
Yeah.
picture has him sitting on a bench,
And
bare-assed.
and as he gets older, those brain injuries aren't going to get any better. It's only
No,
going to
no,
progress and get worse.
for sure. So I think this is just kind of an example of we're learning a whole lot more about the brain and lasting effects and stuff.
And
But
I will say, it is not at all uncommon. A lot of the meet and greets we go to, I mean, you've been to enough of them, Eduardo, that there's usually somebody there with them. And for somebody who has medical issues, that handler is usually there and can push the crowd away when they need to
mhm.
or make changes to the schedule. It sounds like maybe Gary needs some better representation and some better people to, like you said, read those signs and maybe get Gary away from situations where he's
Yeah,
not going to be able to contain some of what's built up inside of his head.
yeah, and honestly, look, again, no excuse. If in fact he did it, then get him the help that he needs. And if you know, and if it's not help and we're just wrong here, then you know, do not pass go. Get
Yep.
directly to jail.
Yep.
Things of that nature. But we're I at least I'm open to the possibility that it is a mental health thing, and
Right.
you know, from someone who's
Like it's
dude,
not
my
like this
head's been
is
knocked around quite a bit. So
though. What I was about to say is it's not like Mr. Busey does not have a colorful history
nope.
of extreme and strange behavior.
Yeah, exactly. So no excuse, but either way, we hope things work out the best for everybody involved. And it's just it's interesting.
It's interesting and unfortunate.
Yeah, more and more, it's really never meet your heroes, and you know,
Yeah.
because we're all apparently we're all flawed pieces of shit. Take that, Devin.
Yeah.
No,
Me.
all jokes aside, it's unfortunate because you know we're all gonna get there. We all get old.
Also, have I sung praises for the picture you found yet? Because, well done.
Well, okay, so this is one of the better ones where he's intentionally looking batshit
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of the other ones, because he's had other issues. Apparently, he had a tumor at one point that they had to remove.
Yep.
It's left his face a little bit weird. So when he's just trying to look normal, he looks crazy. That's just how it
I
looks.
mean, let's also just face that the fact that he is crazy makes him look crazy.
It does. Yeah, there's definitely that. Um, but let's talk about some new shit.
New shit?
Well, because apparently this was watched by fucking everybody.
Oh, yeah, that Crash server. It's why I didn't watch it yesterday. Crash servers, right? That's what you're talking about?
Uh huh.
Yeah, okay, so surprising nobody, and not to lose out on money, HBO again, capitalizing on that sweet, sweet Game of Thrones money, and is doing House of the Dragon, a Game of Thrones prequel series set. It was like 173 years before the events of Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
Something like this. What, 72, 73, 75, I don't know.
I imagine this is back when things were better and not so shitty. To the events that led to the Game of Thrones. Nope.
You've never seen the show, have you?
Nope.
It's basically a medieval setting where instead of being like a year that consists of seasons, seasons last for as long as they kind of feel like lasting.
Okay.
So there are whole generations who've never known summer. Winter is this terrifying time because it is years and years and years of just cold weather and shit. So there's kind of no good time in Game of there's no it was a time of peace and technology. Nope. It's mostly just murder and hate and dragons.
Okay. I thought just based on the adverts that at the end of Game of Thrones there was some sort of clash that comes together and society goes into a bit of a collapse, no?
No. No. What? No. The clash was because society was in disarray as everybody was fighting over who gets to lead the society. Also, there's a demon man bringing ice zombies.
Yeah, I thought there was a whole army that took over a bunch. I have only known bits and pieces from other
No.
people.
Whatever you put together, it's wrong. That's not what happened.
Fair enough.
In fact, the end gives the most promise for a slightly better age, but they literally come up with this idea of democracy and laugh it away and go back to like kings and fiefdoms and things. So no, there's no age of prosperity.
Okay, well that's fun.
So this is about the family that was in power before the king that we see in Game of Thrones. Basically, Game of Thrones starts after the super tyrannical psycho king is killed by the people and a new king is established. Like the first non of this family to ever run the realm.
Okay.
So the prequel is about a the end of the first great empire of this family. So they've done their first big, long stretch ruling, and now this is their first bit of turbulence in ruling.
Okay.
The first episode doesn't give you a lot. A couple of big Game of Thrones-ish scenes, though I will say not as big as I was expecting. I really expected them to come out of the gate with something shocking to try and like, remember this is Game of Thrones. And actually, I feel like they played it very safe. In a good way. It didn't feel safe like it had no teeth. It just felt safe as in like, they set the tone. It did some Game of Thrones kind of shit, and it moved along with its time. Like the performances so far, little hard getting to learn character names because we already watched something in the future, and this is like feudal time, so there's lots of people named after other people. Well, now we're meeting either the originals of those names or just other people who've also carried that name. And so it becomes a little difficult to shift your brain into like, etch-a-sketch everything I knew, apply new faces to all of these names. So that's a little interesting and difficult. Matt Smith is doing pretty great so far. I like his character. He seems a little unhinged.
Okay.
All in all, I'm intrigued. I'm in for the second episode.
Interesting.
I honestly, I think you've made the right decision not watching Game of Thrones because now you can come into it having heard what a severe letdown you get at the end and knowing that all it's going to be is a mostly interesting ride with a few crazy good up notes. But like you can watch the show very tempered now. You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's so funny that that show's legacy. Think of how big it was, right? It's one of
Yep.
those ones where you hesitated to watch it because by the time you were clued in, it could never live up to the reputation it was given. It
Yeah.
could not do it.
And I've gotten so many bits and pieces about it because everyone would fucking talk about it.
It was such a
That
cultural phenomenon,
by
right?
the time I would watch it, because it's happened with other shows,
Yeah.
I would just be like looking forward to the thing, and it makes it really hard to turn off my reviewer and my writer brain,
Right.
especially if I've already had bits and pieces thrown in.
So now you can watch it knowing what it's truly known for. One of the worst final seasons of all time.
Yep.
And even
Yep.
like I don't hate the final season as much as a lot of people do, but I will still tell you it's a very disappointing season. It's not good. It's
By
not
any stretch of the imagination.
it's not the abysmal pile of garbage that ruined lives that people pretend like.
All the
Like
lives.
it wraps up most things in a way that wraps them up. You know, it doesn't fail at closing anything out. It doesn't like, and then they all woke up and it was a dream. It at least ends in a way that feels correct enough. It's just not very gratifying.
Yeah.
So I think you can I think you'll enjoy it more. Because you can enjoy this part is the middle and then land the ship knowing that the ship doesn't land very well and walk away going, yeah, it's the just fine show that I was hoping it would be.
I've been thinking of actually picking it up, but I want to finish Sandman first.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because me and my wife are actually watching that together. So I think
Yeah.
me and my wife should watch Game of Thrones together.
Yeah, there's a couple of parts that she might find a little scary, but on the whole, it's mostly just like medieval knights and dragons and shit.
Yeah, yeah. I
With
mean,
titties.
her and I used to watch episodes of like Merlin, so I think she'll be alright.
It's got a
Little
lot
bit-
more titties.
They're bonus. I don't know. Well, you say like it's a bad
Just
thing.
saying. I do think you guys could walk away enjoying it now, especially since like it's going to be such a tempered experience. You know what you're in for.
Yeah. It's not gonna be mind blowing. It'll be great for a while and then just taper off like every other fucking show.
It's
Except-
honestly, it's going to be a lot of fantasy drama and talking with some points that make you go, "Damn," and then a conclusion that makes you go, "Damn."
fair enough. But House of the Dragon.
So far so good. Who knows how it's going to turn
Yeah.
out. I do so they've made hints at a big winter coming. So I think this might be them trying to make up for the lackluster finale with the Night King that a lot of people complained about.
Oh,
I think
okay.
we might get a more epic people banding together, fighting off the hordes of winter by the end of this if it carries on that far. I think we might get that. The one thing my wife and I noticed, it does feel like this is going to be Game of Thrones. What was the first? What was the Purge prequel? The first Purge. This is Game of Thrones, the first game, because it is going to center around someone dying and who the next era is going to be. And there's already people like making little factions and little fiefdoms and little promises, and I'm like, so it's Game of Thrones .5. More games, more thrones. Though,
The first Thrones.
to be fair, the first Game of Thrones is barely about that's the set piece. It's not the story.
Exactly. That it's a catalyst. It's what it
Yeah.
was.
So I'm a little disappointed that seems like that's what this is going to do, but also maybe it won't be. And here's one of those things I'll warn you: when you watch the first season's good. But your first big, shocking, game-changing moment truly is the very final scene of the first season.
Fine.
I think the show, no, not that it's bad. Mostly
no,
just
yeah.
like you don't get that scale of why people went fuck. It cemented what it was with that final scene of that first season. Like that's what got people in the door. This show could do that. This could be like, ooh, we're gonna build up to a Game of Thrones, and then nope, that shit fucking ends and somebody gets the throne. Like, you know what? They could just because that's what I'm trying to. Other people who've seen it will know what I mean, and are probably chomping at the bit for me to just say it. I don't want to spoil it for you, but literally, the final scene changes the entire show. It changes the tone, it changes the setting, it changes the plot. The final scene of the show basically goes, "Fuck you, season two's a different game, bitch," and then just leave.
There are a bunch of shows that do that too.
It's become a lot more common. I think like Game of Thrones definitely wasn't the first, but it
No.
cemented that it was a legitimate option.
Honestly, who was the first? Buffy.
Yeah, I buy that.
Yeah. After I think whenever the Hellmouth goes down, it was just a different show.
Yeah, yeah, and like Game of Thrones does that really, and it's weird. It's a different show, but it's the same show.
Yeah.
Nothing really changes or shifts except there's just this big thing that's like, well, that's forever.
Wow. Okay. Fair
Yeah.
enough. All right. So let's not give that a rating yet. 'Cause you
Yeah,
said
no,
so far so good.
I probably will do a week by week. I should also like if anybody's interested, I did check out She-Hulk.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I do want to check that out.
I will just sum it up with don't buy internet hate. Is the first episode a little weak? Yes, but we also did the whole origin and everything in one episode and called it done. I don't think we're going to have any more origin, and we're just done after that. And you know what? Thank you. I'm sick of origin stories. So, especially from Marvel, who has a formula for origin stories. They just do. Their origin stories are pretty much paint by numbers at this point.
Somebody's parents usually die.
Look at the first Marvel movies. They follow a fucking pattern.
Yeah, they do.
So I like that She-Hulk just goes, there it is, it's done. Moving on. Thank you.
Yeah,
So,
well, because at this
looking
point,
forward to what the rest of the show will do.
it's a whole cinematic universe, and people have
Right.
embraced it. All right. That brings us here to the end.
The end.
Bye. No, check us out Monday nights, 7 to 8 Pacific, 5D podcast on YouTube. Tuesdays, we do twitch.tv/Metagame Network. That's multiplayer night. We play video games. I don't remember. What the fuck did we play last week? Oh my god, I'm losing it at this point. I've got too much Cult of the Lamb. I'm actually going to go play it as soon as we finish recording. So there's that. Final words, Bonsai.
I'll play Stray eventually.
Oh, yeah, the kitty game. Bye.